have this misconception. Yeah. So here, for example, you realize this is an example where a very big proportion of the students choose another answer, alright, and then here they will tell us why, alright, and so this is if force most of the students giving us this answer, which is what we want, but I would like to point our attention to some of the responses that although they choose false, the statements that they justify it with are also incorrect. So although they correctly identified that it's false, but they did not correctly identify why it was false. So for in this case, they say that, glucose is hydrolyzed to pyruvate, which is not correct. It is glucose is oxidized to pyruvate. So things like glucose is phosphorylase to trap energy. So even their terminology is also incorrect. So we can use this to actually sort of make their thinking visible and help us and inform us in our teaching in tutorial classes. So the affordance of the ICT platform is such that our students are all digital native. They are very well acquainted with ICT, and the ease of access, they can do it anytime. So sometimes we give them that 10-minute slots, but sometimes towards the end we just don't have time. So we, given that they have this URL, they can access it anytime. It's easy for them to remember. It's short. They can do it anytime as long as it's before the class. And auto collection summary of responses like what we did just now. And sometimes I use this tool in class such that sometimes they're very tired in class, and I make them all stand up, and then at the end of this, we have this section that says, what other questions do you have regarding this topic? And they point to this question and make them answer their own friends, their friends' answer, addressing the other questions that their friends still have on this topic. So yeah, and it serves as a question bank for us and students for their revision. They can come back and check out because it's always available for them. And for us teachers, sometimes if we have not enough time to do it for the next year, we can kind of use it again. Yeah. And okay, any more? Yeah, and also for justified true false, it surfaces doubts and misconception like what we did just now, and it actually promotes in-depth learning and not just a simple true or false, which they can get it right just through guesswork, because it's 50% chance of getting it right. And also it allows for targeted recap in class during tutorial, saving us time, and it's more targeted learning. So with that, I think we are done. Thanks.
Alright, so that it's RV, so I'm now presenting to you IJC's version. Okay, however, much of which is really kind of similar. Alright, we don't actually have a platform like theirs. Instead, we tap on this e-learning day that we had to have a ICT in our session. So our topic this time around was on GMOs, and we were focusing on one of the GMOs, which is the BT corn. So at this point in time, the students have not gone through anything about GMOs. So this session was really to introduce to them GMOs, and also the first of the GMO, which is BT corn itself. What we were, okay, sorry for too much words, but what we were really looking at is firstly getting them to learn the lesson or the content via video lecture. Okay, then after we will have our two ALs. Okay, one is an LMS quiz, which is a justified true false, and the next would be an exit pass, which is a forum posting. Okay, whereby students need to post one response or one post. And this post is either to the response to our question, or that they can post another question, or they can respond to their friend's question. Okay, so that's the options that they can have for the forum posting itself. So this justified true false, I think very much they have covered it. We've put out some examples down here, but the main gist of it all is still the same thing. Basically, is to understand what are their misconceptions and therefore gather information and therefore be able to address them in the next lesson we have with them. So maybe I'll skip this. Alright, instead, maybe I'll just look at our exit pass instead. So in this exit pass itself, as I mentioned, it's really of a forum posting that the student must make, and we are monitoring. Okay, so let me just recap. So they either answer the question that we post, otherwise they will have a question of their own posted, or last but not least, they can respond to their friends' questions. Okay, so for example, in this case, we have quite a good student. We don't normally see this, but anyway, yes. So this student, he answered our question with a very, very detailed response. This is on another GMO that is not inside the lecture note. So he went to research online and then posted it in a format that was just like how we taught it during the lecture. And then other than that, we have questions from students also. So in this case, teachers who are monitoring can go in and clarify with them. And also, as mentioned, questions from students may also be answered by other students, for example in this case. Kai-Ying was answered by Wei Min in this case. So very much they are just collaborating to consolidate and construct their own understanding. Yeah. So very quickly, let me just focus on the exit pass. How do you really enhance student learning in this case? It's because you can pose a question. Okay, so you are allowed to clarify doubts in that sense, and also with the consolidation of the questions or whatever responses that the students pose, we are better able to understand what are their missing links or their gaps in learning. Okay, and also like what I mentioned, okay, really it's about collaboratively constructing their learning. Oh, and the last one, which for students who tried to answer our question, whereby they are supposed to describe new GMOs which are not inside the lecture notes, so they'll be able to, given this platform where they are able to then go online and research on new GMOs that they can then teach the others. Yeah. So what and how would I improve upon my AFL or our AFL methods? I think there are quite a few things that were taught to us today, and I think we are quite glad to implement that. For example, the idea of when you talk about justified true false, you don't really know how confident the students are when they say that it's true or false or their own answer. So I thought it was very good. And the idea from RV where we should have a sustained, consistent platform that we can use and follow up. Yeah, because this was just an e-learning platform that we had. Yeah. Alright, maybe I'll just end here. Thank you.